Are you interested to see a key strategic pivot point hidden right in plain sight in the board game Rome Total War? Stay tuned to find out more. Hi everyone, are you bored through? We're bored through, and here at Bored Through we are all about the gameplay. And today we're continuing with our strategy guide for Rome Total War, the board game. Today we're going to look at a strategy that is called the Outpost. And what's really interesting about this strategy is it's one that can be taken advantage of by multiple factions. So it will take a little bit of time to go into this. But the Outpost in particular that I'm talking about, as I mentioned at the start of the video, is hidden in plain sight, and it is this region right here. And the reason why it is a key pivot point is because of the geography that surrounds it. So as you can see from the bottom, it's surrounded by a sea region, and it's also got a port in there as well. So that means that it gives access to the Mediterranean, or it also gives access from the Mediterranean inland as well. So it's a great place to be able to put a fleet. In particular, that's quite useful for the barbarians who don't actually start with the opportunity to lay down a fleet in the Mediterranean at the beginning of the game. You'll also notice that on one side is actually mountains here. So that's interesting because it slows down movement to and from these two places, cutting off kind of the east and west of Europe here. In particular, keeping the Romans on this side of the divide. And then on the other side is a river, which is blocking off any advance coming from this side. So if you have the Carthaginians who perhaps make a move north, then they're not going to be able to penetrate much further up here without incurring a significant movement cost. So if this area is defended, then that's going to slow them down. But what is interesting is that when we're looking coming from the north, is that there actually isn't any geography that is preventing that apart from a single movement, and it goes straight from one of the barbarians' home territories into here. What you'll also notice is that it's actually got 4 terrain as well. So in particular, when it comes to Rome, their best soldiers for fighting in terrain are not present at the beginning of the game. So in terms of the strategic importance of this, it means that the barbarians have to get in here really, really early. I would even recommend place down one of your armies here at the start of the game and then move them south so that you're able to actually take advantage of this area down in here. Because if you don't manage to grab it at the beginning of the game, then you're going to have to wrestle it off of the Romans near the end of the game. So absolutely key for the barbarians to move down into here so that they're able to actually take advantage of this. You could move down with your Highlanders, but you might want to save the Highlanders for fighting over towards the Alp kind of region. You're really just moving in here so that you can capture it. Then to lay down your walls. You don't need a barracks because it's right next to your home regions, but you might want to use the barracks just to make it much more deadly for those that are trying to advance to take it. So there is one good reason to do it. The other great thing about it is as well is that you can even put down a market here. Because it's got a port, it means that when you do a trade action, then you're going to get one additional coin coming from that. And if you connect it to your home regions by road, then you can take advantage of that additional 1 coin each turn, just coming from your taxation. Then what to do with this army is to get this army moving. So whether that is that you actually move this army down to the south and that you actually attempt to establish the to establish the wall, which is what we talked about in a previous strategy. That's a really good use of that army there. If you want to take this army and actually to move it towards the east, so that you can attack the Romans, because if you're going to make an attack on the Romans, you need to do it before they get the Marian reforms, because it's going to get a lot harder to fight them after that. So you really want to make sure that wherever you intend to set up your battle lines, that you've got those established at the beginning of the game, even if you actually just want to sit them here and use the natural geography to your advantage. But like I say, it's also an opportunity that if you haven't done anything interesting with your fleets, that you can actually get your fleet out into here. Again, you've got to be very cautious, because you need to develop the fleets in the first instance. Then you need to invest in another development so that they will be able to go toe to toe with the Roman and Carthaginian fleets, who are going to be more advanced. And of course, if they advance their fleets, then that's going to put you at a disadvantage once again. So what you can do is you can move down into here in the first turn. In the second turn, you've got a fleet available. So what that means is that you could actually just move the army onto the fleet. And then from there, that's going to give you really good scope whether you want to use that to attack further down into the Iberian Peninsula, whether you want to go for some of these islands. The risk of putting them onto the islands, again, is that if you end up becoming enemies with Rome and Carthage, and they intercept you, then it might be really difficult to get those armies back again. So you got to be careful, because you don't want to get caught out that way. But the other thing as well is that if you've got a fleet that's present, well then that creates influence, whether it is about forming an alliance to help. What you could do is you can create fleets and use them in a kind of a suicidal way. So say you become allies with the Carthaginians. You could say that you're going to move your fleets to try and attack the Roman navy, even just to take out one ship or two ships, and then that means that when the Carthaginians want to go and attack, then it's going to put the odds into their favour. So that's the way that you can create influence. This is a way that, in particular, where barbarians have a very weak navy, where militaristically, when it comes to the battles, they might not do particularly well, but they can still hold an awful lot of influence. But you're only going to have that if you can get access to the Mediterranean, and by taking the outpost, that gives you the opportunity to do that. The other thing that we might want to consider here as well is that if we are playing as the Romans, then this is a great way of establishing a bridgehead to move into the barbarians' home territories. So if we bring up one of our Roman armies, so even in the first turn, they can come up, they can capture this region, and then move straight into here. So in the first turn, the barbarians, the Romans are able to actually get access to the outpost and to prevent the barbarians from being able to gain access that way. So it means that there's then another port that is available to the Romans. So if they put down a market, then they can get the trade advantage. It's going to be connected by their home regions, so to their home regions. So if they put down roads, then again they can take advantage of the extra coin there. But as I was saying, in particular, that one of the best things that they're able to do is to use this as a staging point when it comes to attacking the barbarian home regions, because you get a straight line of attack without using up too many movement points, because from turn number 2, in fact, you can go 1, 2, and 3, and you could actually be in the barbarians' capital in just 2 turns. You're going to put up with a lot of resistance on the way there. This would be quite an offensive strategy. One that you would be quite tricky to pull off, and so you have to be cautious as the Romans. It might just be that what you do is that you go, you capture this region here, that you set down once again your walls and your barracks just to make it tough to shift, and then you move this army off to pastures new. It gives you the opportunity to again enter a fleet and to do the exact same thing as the barbarians, to move down into the Iberian Peninsula, to move out into the islands, or just be able to move it back to to here, just to ward the barbarians away, and to create a little bit of a buffer zone between Rome and their home regions. So very useful for Rome as well. Perhaps the most useful for the barbarians, but the Romans can certainly take advantage of it. You could also do it as the Carthaginians. You could move an army up, and instead of just stopping at the wall, you can do a very similar kind of mirror gauntlet move, is what I would refer to it as, whereby they're able to move up into here. And actually that then means that they are in a position to threaten the barbarians' home territories, and bring the barbarians in particular to the negotiating table, because you're sitting right at their front door. This is a great way to be able to say, right, I want you to leave me alone. Let me have Spain. You go ahead and take the regions to the north, and we'll move away from each other. And so, where you think that you might actually get a lot of resistance from the barbarians, this could be a great way of stepping up into here, getting up in their face, and as I say, bringing them to the negotiating table. And if they don't want to negotiate, well, then of course you can simply just advance on their home regions and score yourself some victory points, in the exact same way that the Romans would do. Really, really good access in that way. And the longer the game goes on, then the better the odds are going to be for the Carthaginians. But this is a great way just to get that established in the first instance. The other thing as well is it means that there's then some really good tension points that take place here, because if the Romans actually do advance up into these regions in here, then what that means is there's a bit of a standoff between these three powers up in this area here. And to be honest, what that means is that it's just a drain of resources. So if you know that you can come up here, form an alliance with one or the other of these, and let them just sit and allow those tensions to play out. And if one of them tries to attack you, well, then the other, as your ally, can come in and give support there, allowing you to then move away from this region here. So the best way to use this region with your armies is to launch attacks early on, or just actually to move away, and then take advantage of the fact that you've really pressed up into here, and some battle lines have been established for any kind of future incursions that you might want to make. So if you've got the barbarians kind of sitting there, the Carthaginians sitting here, and then the Romans sitting over here like that, really interesting tension point that takes place there. But don't get bogged down in it. That's the only thing that I would say. The Greeks could come over and take advantage of this. They can actually get a fleet up into the sea region, and then they could get it on in the next turn. The only problem with that is about being able to reinforce the armies. That's the only thing, because they won't have a line of communication there. They can't really take advantage of it. So this is really one between Rome, Carthage, and the barbarians. So yet another really, really key pivot point within the western part of the board. It's a great place for the barbarians to go and nab straight away, or it's a great way of being able to apply pressure to the barbarians if another faction uses it in another way. So if that's been useful, then please, guys, give me a like, just to let me know if I'm doing a good job. If you want to get these into your feed, then do subscribe to the channel so you can get that automatically. And if this is something which you think would improve some of the games that you're having with your friends, then please share this video with them. However, if you want to take advantage of these strategies before they go and find out, then why don't you keep it to yourself? In the meantime, I'm going to go for now. This is Board Through, and we are all about the gameplay.